Welcome into the weekly peel, shooting the breeze so you don't have to. Or are we? Because conspiracies. Welcome into another week of the weekly peel. Again, I think the last two episodes I've said, I made a joke about it being the bi-weekly peel. And it really is becoming the bi-weekly peel. It's every other week. But welcome in. We have Peter Stauffer on the show. You've been on a total of probably 45
What's
times.
What's up?
How you doing, Pete?
I'm doing great today. I'm feeling great.
Good.
I'm glad to be on the peel.
Good. Yeah, well, we have some big news here on the peel. We are when I say we, I mainly mean me. Cuz it's a one-man show over here, but not anymore. I have decided to bring Peter on as a co-host when he can, because he lives we live in the same state, but what, 4 hours away?
4.5 hours away.
Oh gosh. Yes, so he will be a co-host as much as he can,
yes,
and a creative producer, meaning that when I have ideas that might be stupid, he'll go, "Hey, don't do that."
There we go.
I feel like happens a lot.
I wave my magic wand. It's a better idea now.
So Peter, tell us about yourself.
I am Peter. I live
No.
in Warrenton, Virginia. I'm a media director at a church. Known John since we were 10 years old, and
Yeah.
I'm hyped to be on the peel. I'm a big fan of John's podcasts, and now it's mine. I've made it mine.
Just try just trying to make fans' dreams come true, you know?
There we go.
So, well, Peter, this is going to be a fun time, and I just wanted to check in with you. How you doing? I heard you recently scheduled your first.
I have big
appointment.
news. Yeah, so that's first doctor's appointment. It's a big feeling. It's a
first when, and not first ever.
It's
right?
this Wednesday. What?
Well, it's not the first ever.
Right?
No.
So it's my first as an adult. I mean, I've been I know I've been married for over a year now, had a full-time job for over a year now, but this means that I am finally an adult.
You finally made it.
This was the final straw.
Yeah. I is it just a checkup, or do you have problems?
I have problems, John. Let me tell you. That's for another podcast.
The problem with Pete.
It's this Wednesday. I'm so excited.
Man.
I'll tell him all about this podcast.
I probably should go to the doctors. I don't think I've been to the doctors like an actual checkup. I've been to the urgent care or maybe the emergency room since I've been married, but I don't know if I've actually had a checkup in literally 3 years.
No, same here.
That's not true. That's not true. I had one checkup in 2019. So I guess it's been 2 years, because I was going to a youth camp when I was interning at a church in Massachusetts. I was kind of the interim youth pastor, and I had to get a checkup before I could go to a youth camp as a counselor, which I don't know why. So I just went to a minute clinic, but
yeah. I don't even.
Yeah, doctors are for kids.
I mean, that was my experience. I don't think I've had a checkup in years either, so I don't even know what happens.
We're expecting big things.
I'll let you know. Tune in next week to get my results.
A deep dive into Peter's doctor's appointment. We're gonna have your doctor come on and talk about what happened. Oh gosh, man. Yeah, well, you know how the weekly peel is, making good content out of doctor's appointments.
Going to the doctor so you don't have
to. Yes. We'll do like a Conan remote where we have cameras and stuff. So I'm here at the doctor's.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, we got a really fun topic this week.
I'm excited.
So yeah, listen. So I when we were talking about, we had brought up the idea of do just episodes on this podcast or break it into seasons, and then maybe do seasons with specific topics. And because we just kind of talk about whatever, and when you raise the question okay, what could we talk about if we have a specific topic for a season, and I just started thinking, I'm what is it that we do? What is this podcast about? And I just said, I think I said to you, like, it's just like bringing people on to talk about stuff that they like, or like that they like to talk about. And this one's a little bit more for me, I think. I think more so for me than for
Probably.
you.
I can get into it though.
I Oh yeah, it's fun. This we're talking about conspiracy theories. We're gonna do our top three favorite and best, top three favorite conspiracy theories. Listen,
Yes.
this is I love a good conspiracy theory. Like I just love like Alex Jones. Do you know him,
I
Peter?
really don't. I know the name. I don't know how.
Oh my
Just I'm
gosh,
out of the loop.
this guy is he runs Infowars, which has been banned on every social media platform and pretty much everything except for
Oh
infowars.com.
my gosh.
And because they've labeled him a conspiracy theorist, but he recently in the last couple years, I think went on Joe Rogan's podcast a couple times because they're friends, and Joe Rogan wanted to bring him on to show like he's not as crazy, like he's crazy, but not as like wrong as you think he is.
Yeah.
And they just like fact checked him like crazy, and some of the things he was saying were like
Really?
were kind of true. Yeah, so he's a conspiracy theorist, but kind of not. And yeah, this is great. Yeah, he is, but he isn't. No, he like it's interesting with conspiracy theories. Like we tend to think of these crazy people that are always suspicious and they're just making random junk up. But there was this thing, and I always look because I want to talk about a few conspiracy theories that actually came true or actually came out that were true. So you have all these rumors swirling around like for years about like different things. Like there's 9/11 ones, there's things like that, and there was this one back from I think it was the 50s, and it was called Operation Mockingbird. Have you ever heard of this, Peter?
No.
Okay, so it was this big like conspiracy that the CIA was basically had their hand in Hollywood, that they were calling the shots and they were telling them what to put on. They were like pushing propaganda into Hollywood to then be presented on TV and throughout all
Oh.
media to change people's minds. They were trying to use TV as a form of brain control, right? And this is this huge conspiracy. Oh yeah, right. And then when they declassified all of like the files and everything from those years, it was true. It was a
No
hundred
kidding.
percent true. Yes, they literally tried to use like the TV to influence people's minds, and it was the CIA influencing Hollywood to do this
That
and
is
like getting them to
crazy.
do this. Yeah, and within those documents, I think it was in those documents or documents around the same year, it shows that the government coined the phrase conspiracy theory. They made the phrase up to
To
discredit
discredit it. That's
what.
right.
Yes, isn't that
That's
crazy?
what like lends validity to like all of these like ideas that just sound crazy is like when they try to get censored or like those the big tech things like
Yes.
taking down Alex Jones. It's like I mean I
Yes.
understand like wanting to not spread misinformation, but also it
Yeah.
looks like you're trying to like hide something too, you know?
Yes. And Alex Jones' big thing, which I mean, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's really funny to listen to because he's just insane and his voice is super like growly and but he said he's like why can you look up like speeches from Hitler on YouTube, but you can't look up Alex Jones videos. Like there's barely anything.
Dang.
And what's crazy is one of the things that they were fact checking him on was he has this really like popular. It's kind of been a meme. You might have seen it where it's like the water's turning the frogs gay. Have you ever seen
I've
this?
heard that. But I have no
Okay, like
idea.
they turned it into like a song, like a remix, and all this stuff. And it turned out that like there was this like it was true in a sense. Like basically what happened was there was this like something they were doing like testing in the water, and it was making frogs like their testosterone levels or whatever like go down so low that they didn't know if they were girl frogs or boy frogs. And like
Jeez.
so like it's not exactly how he said it,
Yeah.
but there was something to it, which is, and he talks about like animal human hybrids in China that Joe Rogan's
Oh.
producer checked out to be true, and like weird things. Or like you have one of my favorite ones, and I'm not using this in my list because these are ones that were true, was I think it was called Project or Operation Norwood, where it was either the CIA or the FBI came to JFK in the 60s and they said, "Hey, we want to get in war with Cuba. So let's have some of our guys like pose as Cuban terrorists and go in and kill a bunch of people in Norwood, Massachusetts." And he said, "Absolutely not.
What?
Like, no way, we're not going to do that." And again, it was one of those things for years. They said it was a conspiracy, and then they declassified the documents, and it was true. They actually proposed that to him.
Oh, okay. So it never happened, but it was
no,
like,
no, it
suggested.
never happened. He told him no. Yeah, isn't that crazy? So conspiracy theories are weird. Some of them are off the wall crazy that can't be true, but they're so much fun. I just love like whenever somebody's talking about it, like I said, I love hearing it and like
I know.
Looking into it.
Just kind of like getting hype about it, like, oh, is it real? Is it real? But today we're going to bring you some conspiracy truth. You know, we're going to get to the bottom of this junk.
Yes. Forget conspiracy theories. It's conspiracy truth time.
Let's go.
All right. So, Peter, do you want to start off with your number 3 pick of conspiracy?
Sure. So, I'll start off with one that's, you know, pretty out there. You've probably heard of it. It's just like a go-to for me because there was a time where I got kind of into it, but the whole flat Earth theory. So, you definitely heard of it. It's very popular. But there was a time where I had a friend in college, and she was she was kind of getting into it, and she was talking to me about it, and I was like, this is really dumb. But the more she talked about it, I was like, why can't I disprove the things that you're saying, you know? So that kind of made me start thinking, and then I started doing more research, and I was like, in my head, I was kind of doing this battle of all right, you know, of course I don't really believe this, but you know, is there actually any proof that it's not flat?
Yeah. It's weird.
There's a lot of weird stuff, and I think a lot of things, people bring up why can't I see, if the Earth is curved, why can't I see buildings that are 60 miles away in the distance? If the Earth should be curved, we shouldn't be able to see them. And there's some scientific explanation of you know how light reflects off of reflects from that distance to where you're kind of seeing in a curved way anyways. So you're sort of seeing over the mound a little bit. It's the way the light bounces off. I don't understand that at all. And I feel there's a lot of things like that are oh, well, it's because of this. I'm I've never heard of that part of science before.
And I would say just thinking of it okay, if you're looking at a small ball, well, of course you wouldn't be able to see something on one side of it if you're looking on the other. But if you're talking about a ginormous ball that's millions and millions and millions and millions of miles, I don't know how big the Earth is. I probably should know that. But if it's so big, you're not going to see the curve because probably the curve is 1 billion miles away. Science.
There we go. Debunked.
Debunked.
No, the craziest thing about this though to me, and this is where I you know, for 1 second I kind of shed my doubt, was when somebody said okay, if the whole flat Earth thing is true, we're basically living on a disc, and there's our atmosphere is you can kind of picture we're in a snow globe, there's a dome over it.
Yeah.
And you're looking straight down. If you look at the United Nations logo, it's exactly what they say the flat Earth is supposed to look like. It's a top-down look, say the North Pole is the center, and you're looking at all of the nations and stuff. Yeah, you can look it up. All the nations.
Wait, what is it? What it's the
United Nations logo.
United Nations. I couldn't remember if you said kingdom or nations. Continue. Makes more sense for nations.
Yeah. So it's okay, if this massive international organization, why would they have this as their logo, which is, you know, exactly, right?
Oh, that's creepy.
If you're listening to this at home, you got to go look it up.
Look it up.
UN logo. And so that was one piece of you know, quote unquote evidence that made me kind of go okay, you know, this might not be true, but that's actually really trippy, you know.
That is really.
So.
Yes. All right. Wow, I love that.
There you go.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Okay, so I have 8. So I'm trying to filter through because I just wrote them all down. And there's so many I want to talk about, but I'm going to stick. Oh gosh, am I going to? Okay, I know which ones I'm going to do. All right, so I was going to wear my NASA shirt, but I couldn't find it cuz I wanted to appease our overlords. Have you ever heard the NASA theories?
No. Well,
okay,
the moon
so
landing stuff?
No, no, not necessarily the
Okay.
moon landing that they think is fake, which obviously it is. No, but there's like this thing about NASA that first of all, NASA's really like kind of sketchy because do you know how they started like
No.
or so after World War II, they basically like after we beat the Nazis, we took a bunch of their scientists, brought them over here, gave them immunity, and had them help us start NASA. So it was like, and this is not like this is like true. This isn't a conspiracy. Like
Yeah.
Nazi scientists helped start NASA,
Wow.
which is super weird. And they basically try to say like, oh, like they were just you know they were just over there like kind of forced to work for Hitler. We don't. I mean, who knows?
Sure.
But it is kind of sketchy. But there's this big like because like the Nazis were like. There's some theories, I don't know how true they are, but they made some crazy technology in World War II, like insane stuff. They're like years and years ahead of their time, so that's
Yeah.
why they did it. I guess on the off chance that it was true that they were really this smart, but they with NASA, there's like this big theory that they're a shadow government. NASA's the real government, and they're trying to like establish civilizations on like the moon or other places because they want all of the like billionaires and all the leaders, they want to like basically destroy the earth and bring everyone up to these like moon colonies. And NASA's the big push behind it.
So
And that's the
so the
conspiracy.
U.S. government is like not the real
Nope,
government.
it's
Oh,
NASA.
it's
No, it's
NASA.
they're puppets.
Now I'm following. Okay.
So literally, like people think NASA is like the most evil corporate or not corporation, I guess evil government. They think it's
Wow.
like this big secret thing. Yeah, and they literally think like they're gonna destroy all of us and they're gonna go to the moon and bring all the leaders with them.
That's kind of crazy when you think the NASA was just founded like 50 years ago.
Yeah, I know. And now they've taken over the whole government and governments because they're gonna bring a lot of world leaders with
Wow.
them.
Man, I did not know all that. I
And
feel
that's why what?
enlightened.
Yeah, and that's why, Elon Musk with SpaceX, he's combating them.
Yeah, and Jeff Bezos with Blue Origin, that's his version. You're not a Bezos
I feel
guy?
like I feel like Bezos is in on it. I don't know. If it was real. If it was real. Do you really trust Jeff
No,
Bezos?
not
I
at
mean,
all.
I don't know. I trust What about you trust Elon Musk?
I yeah, I don't know why, but in my head I feel like everybody kind of likes Elon Musk and everybody kind of dislikes Jeff Bezos, but I have no idea why.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just cuz Jeff Bezos is too rich.
Yeah,
I
and he
think that's
looks
really
very
he,
rich, you know.
he looks like a Bond villain. He looks like Doctor
He
Evil or
does.
something. But all right, Peter, what's your number 2?
My number
If you
two.
take mine.
Okay, so hear me out. Hitler is currently living as an android in Argentina.
Wait, an android? Okay, I almost took the one where he was living there. I didn't know he was an android.
Okay, so this is something I heard. This is something I read on the internet somewhere
I
a
love
long
the
time
internet.
ago, and that's like just all it said was like Hitler, like he didn't die in Germany. He like fled to Argentina,
Oh yeah.
and he's an android now. Um,
How did
so
that happen?
I don't know. Like, why is he an android? What parts of him are an android now? We don't know, but that is a fact. He is currently living in Argentina, and part of him is a robot. And so I looked this
Wow.
up today because I was just kind of like remembering. Like, I heard about this like a few years ago, and I decided to finally look it up today, and I couldn't find anything about the android stuff. But um, the whole thing with him, like he died in a bunker, like right at the end of the war.
Yep.
So there's a Joseph Stalin told President Harry Truman at the time that Hitler did not die in the bunker. So,
Wait, is this like documented that he actually said this, or this is the theory?
but no, he actually said this. He said like Hitler did not die in a
Oh,
bunker, and then
oh my gosh.
I think somebody like under Joseph Stalin or like someone from Russia said like we have found no corpse that could be Hitler's.
Ooh.
So it's like they're saying it's not even possible because we haven't
Yeah.
found any corpse like that could be his. So
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like
The-
they just assume he's donezo. War's over. it's all good
Yeah.
now. But he's secretly an android, and he's in
Wow.
Argentina, in fact.
He's gonna lead the AI revolution against humanity.
That's right.
No, but I heard stuff that like I think it was like Antarctica. They had like bunkers and like underground civilizations that they were like gonna like if they lost the war they were gonna like flee to,
So
and like
crazy.
the body that they found was already like burnt up from like bombs and stuff. So they said it was Hitler, but like there was no proof that
Yeah.
it was. So I don't know. And then I actually because I was looking up conspiracies and there was one guy and he said like you know either he was quoting the guy because I was like kind of half watching it, or this was somebody that actually like was in Nazi Germany, was like, I knew Hitler, I had coffee with him every day or whatever he said, like something
Yeah.
weird like that. And he's like, and that definitely was him. But then other people were like, no, it wasn't. So who knows?
It's very weird. It's very weird. This
Yeah.
whole
And
book's published about this though. Like about him being in
really?
Argentina. Not the android stuff. I don't know where that came from. This guy just randomly said that online and I loved it. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever heard.
Man, as we're saying this, I'm like thinking of like so many like others, and I guess before we do the number one pick, maybe we should do some honorable mentions, or we can do it after.
Sure.
Because there's some I'm like thinking of right now. I don't want to say them in case you choose one of them. That just when you were saying that, there's so many. There was something when I used to have Netflix. I forgot what it was called. Maybe it's called Conspiracies. Maybe I don't know. But they like there's all these like episodes. One was on Hitler. One was on like I don't want to say in case you choose them. But we'll get into that in a little bit. There's some crazy stuff. But all right, this is my second favorite conspiracy, and I thought you were gonna take it, and maybe it's your first one, and I don't know, but we'll see. But this is the reptilian conspiracy.
Okay, that was a backup I had.
Yes, this one is so
I didn't do my research though, so I'm excited to hear.
So it basically like I didn't know a whole lot. I just knew that people claim that world leaders are secretly like these reptile creatures, and like there's videos online like you can look up like Obama shape-shifting eyes, where they say like if you look really closely he blinks and his like eyes come back as like a reptile and then he blinks again and it's gone. And like weird, and like Hillary and like all these people are like Queen Elizabeth is one.
Yeah.
And well, I mean that definitely is true, but and there's no way to explain her. So other than that she's a reptile. But they basically, so when I looked it up, it says that it's a race of aliens from a star called Alpha Draconis. And
who came up with this?
I don't know, but basically these reptiles are like very they have like abilities to think logically, and they have like a higher hierarchy like mentality that they like want to be leaders and stuff. So they like, and they're shapeshifters, and they're like between 7 and 10 feet tall, but they shapeshift into humans. and they literally like, because they want power, they disguise themselves as politicians, and they like climb through the ranks and lead our world. And they and literally like they're always like in their human skin or whatever, but sometimes like whether it be for like a few minutes, a few seconds, or longer times, they go back to their reptile form, and then they things like that. And apparently there's like theories that they've been around since like ancient times, and there's like myths and stuff about these like reptile people. And yet, apparently, like they also say that not all of the reptiles are shapeshifters, which I don't know how they figured that out. But and yeah, they operate off this hive mind where
these are advanced.
Where they don't have individuality or freedom. They just they're controlled by the top like
these guys are
reptiles,
crazy.
And they all share one mind and just follow the leader.
There's so many powers.
I know. I love how like there's not just like one little thing of saying, oh, there's these reptile people that are secretly running our government. No, it's like some of them can shape shift, some of them are not. They're from this star on this weird constellation. So they have a hive mind.
That's awesome. No, the one thing that I read about it is like the guy who like I guess came up with like the modern version of this theory. Like he was, he's very like adamant about it, like holds to it. Never breaks character on it or anything, but he was criticized because some people thought like when he was saying reptiles, like that he was actually like it was like anti-Semitic, like he was talking about like Jews, and he came
What?
back and he said no, like these are not
No.
figurative reptiles. I'm talking about literal reptiles. You idiots.
It's like, are you a horrible like racist or are you a crazy guy that believes in lizards?
Uh,
Those were his two options.
take your
I'm
pick.
kind of I'm kind of glad he chose the lizard
Yeah,
one.
but
I love it.
in all serious, Mark Zuckerberg is definitely a reptile.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Either that or maybe he's a android reptile
Maybe
because he kind of
he
yes.
met up with Hitler with it.
Oh my gosh, these are so good. All right, Peter, your number
My
one
number
pick.
one. Oh, good. Okay, I get to go first. Okay, so
Wait, haven't we? Have we? Yeah, we've been doing that. I think. Yeah.
my
Right, you did your
I
two.
did my number two.
I
Are
did
we
too.
doing
Okay.
honorable
Okay.
mentions first?
No. Oh, maybe we'll do it after.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So Chuck E. Cheese pizza is really just a bunch of leftover pizza from other people's tables that they take and reform back into one pizza.
What?
Yes. So
What the
you can
heck?
look up pictures. Like if you're listening at home, go look this up. Like there's pictures
Oh
online.
my.
Google Chuck E. Cheese pizza, and you can see like they are clearly like the slices are misshapen. Like the pepperonis don't line up. The edges don't
No.
line up. Like they're from different
No.
pieces of pizza. And Shane Dawson made like a documentary about this, and he
No.
like they ended up going to a Chuck E. Cheese. Yup. Yep.
You're right. It's so
It's so
misshapen.
off. It's like it's
Oh.
hard to like reconcile. So in like 20 it was like 2019, like late 2018 I think.
Mm-hmm.
Shane Dawson, a YouTuber, releases this like whole like hour and a half long documentary. It's about a couple other things too, but like the pizza thing was a huge part of it. And like they go to a Chuck E. Cheese, like do all this stuff. Anyways, this video like blows up online. Like it has like tens of millions of views. And
Yeah.
so Chuck E. Cheese responds, and they say the claim that on Twitter they respond to this and say the claims made about Chuck E. Cheese. The fact that they had to address this, it's like I love it. It's what I love about like the 21st century. The claims made about Chuck E. Cheese's and our pizza are unequivocally false. No conspiracies here. Our pizzas are made to order and we prepare our dough fresh in restaurant, which means that they're not always perfectly uniform in shape, but
What?
always delicious. So it's a
Okay.
go ahead.
Like we make pizza. Like we used to do every single Friday.
Yeah.
Maris and I, my wife and I, we would make pizza. I've never once seen it come out like that.
Exactly.
What are they
Like
doing?
it doesn't matter if the fact I mean the thing that got me about this was like they almost like avoided like what the actual conspiracy was, you know? They like didn't really like mention it, like what they're saying like doesn't really disprove it, you know? They say like they don't explain why they're not perfectly even
And like,
at
have you
all.
been to like? Have you like? I've been to like places like there was this one in the hometown or the town of my school. There was a pizza shop. It was called Kruger's, and they would literally make the. You could see it. The kitchen was open. It was in the dining
Yeah.
room, and they had a brick oven thing, and you'd see them make the dough, put it in, bring it out, and the pizza would not look like a jacked up piece of junk.
Yeah,
Like this
exactly. Like
was.
how would you
What?
make a pizza that came out looking like that? You know?
I've never heard of this, Peter, but I can't. If these pictures are real,
Yeah.
I encourage people to go look up the truth. Look
You
this
can
up.
watch the
If this is
documentary.
real.
Like he
Watch it.
sits down in Chuck E. Cheese, they hand him a pizza, like they get like three different kinds. They like look down and like they see exactly the same thing. Like all like the misshapen stuff.
Ooh.
It's so trippy. And like I do not believe Chuck E. Cheese's response. Like it's pretty hard to
No.
deny. Like so they
Yeah.
people don't eat their whole pizza. They leave. The waiters come and they take the leftover pieces and then back in the kitchen they're just like reforming it, like putting some fresh cheese on
Yeah.
top maybe, and then like heating it back up. So it all like kind of is melted together still, but like you still get all these misshapen slices.
Okay, but here's the thing. So have you ever heard the things about like when you go to a restaurant, they're waiters will do this. Not good waiters, obviously, but like people that are just very like mean, I guess, or they're just lazy. If you have soup and you ask for them to heat it up, have you heard this?
No.
They'll go. This is something they do. They go and they like run the spoon under hot water, like so it's really really hot. They put it back in. They bring it out to you. So when you take the first sip, you're like, oh, okay. They warmed it up. So like they'll tell you if your soup's ever cold, keep the spoon and to see if they really heat
Oh,
it up.
wow.
Yeah, and like so this is not that far fetched. I can imagine lazy Chuck E. Cheese workers
Yeah.
fed up with kids, not wanting to spend money, wanting to turn a profit, you know?
Chuck E. Cheese
And
is
just
dying. They're trying to save money here.
it's true. It's true. Oh man, dude, this is really weird.
It's for real.
I have you ever had Chuck E. Cheese pizza?
I mean, not since I was 10.
Dude, when I was 10 and I had it, it was like the best pizza I ever had
I
in my
know.
life.
People
it was
give
so
people give the
good.
pizza like all kinds of crap. Like I guess I'm doing
It's
right
so
now, but
good.
it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just like
Well, listen,
pizza.
fresh the fresh pizza's good.
Yeah.
So like if you go there, I wonder if like you go there in the morning, as soon as they open, 6 a.m.
And
whatever time they
compare.
open.
And then
Yeah,
come
and then
back
like
later.
get a pizza. Yeah, get a pizza. See what it looks like, and then come back later.
Dang.
Or like maybe take your piece and mark it with a marker underneath, and then check.
That would be wild.
We can film it exposing Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh my gosh. I love it. All right. So
Oh,
what's your
all
number
right.
one, John?
All right, my number one is my favorite conspiracy of all time, and it's birds aren't real. I absolutely love this theory. I think it's the funniest thing I've ever heard, and I want to believe it. It's definitely not true, but I want to believe it with all of my heart. And it's that from 1950 or 40. A lot of weird things happened in the 50s apparently, but from like back then, the the government has been committing mass genocide on the bird population. I love how they describe it. And they've been replacing them with drones. And apparently like over 60 million birds have been murdered by the US government. I guess by
Birdered,
NASA.
if you
and
will.
bird they've been birdered. And I was trying to think of something clever instead of genocide with a bird, but I couldn't come up with anything.
Birder.
Birder is good. There's been a birder. and and yeah, so they've been replacing them with drones, and they've been spying on the American people.
Wow.
And like if you look at like the plans they have, like they like it's like a blueprint of a bird, and it's all like mechanical and they say like that there still are birds, but 90% of the birds in the air are mechanical.
90%.
So like 90%
Holy
are
cow.
drones. And people are like, what about the birds that poop in my car? You don't think the government would have like installed like some sort of synthetic pooper? Like and then I love like you just sent me something recently. There was a birds aren't real rally. They all like protested.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't you send, which I love, and there's billboards and there's so many good videos. I think that like it's a joke. The guy who started it is not. He doesn't actually believe it. I think there are people that really do.
I don't
believe
know.
this, but
I thought he has never broken character or anything.
no, he hasn't.
has.
But here's the thing.
Oh, okay.
No, he hasn't. But like on his channel, he has like he interviews like a former CIA operative that was like, yeah, I was a part of this. I know that this is real. That they've been, but like you can tell it's fake. Like there's no way
Yeah.
this is real. And he's just talking about the blueprints and the plans and like their ultimate goal. And then there's one where like this is my favorite video on the subject. The guy who made it, he goes on local TV, right? Local TV news. And they're like the anchors are like, "Oh, here we have this, this gentleman with us. If you live in the area and you see the Birds Aren't Real billboard, it's his organization and he's the one behind it. I'm here to talk about it. The birds aren't real." And the guy's just dead serious. And he's like, "Yeah, birds aren't real." He goes through the whole spiel about the genocide, the birder, all that stuff that's happening. And then like the lady and the guy are just looking kind of confused, and they're like, "You don't believe this?" And he's like, "I absolutely believe this." And he's like, he's acting dead serious. And then she looks at like the lady anchor looks at the guy, like her guy anchor, and she's like, looks back at him. She's like, "You told us backstage that this is a joke." And he's like, he goes, "I never said that." And they're just looking like horrified, and they're like, okay. whatever you say. But you told us it wasn't real. And he's like, I never said that. He starts doubling down. So they bring him on, and he's like, yeah, this isn't real. It's just a big joke. And then he gets on TV and he doubles down, and he just and you can tell they're mad. It's so funny. I love it. But yeah, birds aren't real. It's the government spying on us.
Wow.
I love that. I think that is just so good.
There's a video of him going on a street corner and coming with the signs and just shouting it at the cars birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real. Oh man. Just wait till one day when maybe they oh my gosh, are they androids? Oh my gosh.
Androids.
Oh my gosh.
The German scientists
they're coming for us.
in Argentina with Hitler.
They're the one working with
Collab
NASA.
With NASA and with the reptile people.
Yep.
Holy cow,
my gosh.
John.
This is bombshell journalism. we're gonna go mysteriously missing. We're gonna
wow.
After this episode airs. I don't know if we can air this. We've stumbled onto some dangerous territory.
Hey, if there's no episode next week, viewers, you know why.
Or
it's not because
or 2
we're
weeks
lazy.
From now. Oh my gosh. All right, Peter, do you have any honorable mentions that you would like to mention?
One I found is about how Finland isn't real.
I forgot that. I've heard that too.
Some guy in 2016 just started spreading this on Reddit. Finland, it's not real, guys.
I love that. That is so great.
It was China and New Zealand or something established the country of Finland in 19 whatever. This is probably totally wrong if you're listening, but that's just what I read offhand. And
how dare you not know a fake conspiracy
for political gain? But maybe the 5 million people there would have something different to say. They don't even know. The Finnish people, they don't even know that it's not real. They're living a lie.
So they're all these people. They're proud of their country. It's not even a real country.
No.
They're probably in the same studio where they faked the moon landing.
It's like the Truman Show. It's the Truman.
Yes, the Finland.
They
show.
don't even know. The Finland Show.
I love it.
I love
it. Oh man, I got tons. This one, I wait. Do you have any more?
That's it.
Okay, so all right. Let me crack my knuckles and
Let's do it.
and get into this. There's this one. It's the Knights of Malta, and this is weird. I've never heard of this until I was looking this stuff up. They believe that, or there's these Knights of Malta. There's something with the Vatican, and there's this theory that they carry out covert operations all over the world. They establish the CIA. They're not they establish all these government agencies all over the world. And they're not loyal to the country. They're not loyal to the organization. They're only loyal to the Pope and the Vatican. And they're carrying out his plans.
Wow.
And the Pope is the mastermind behind everything. And apparently, this is the best part, that the mob, the mafia, the Italian mafia, are Knights of Malta. So they're literally they're all just working. They're employed by the Vatican to just carry out the Pope's evil desires.
Wow.
I know. It's so crazy.
I did not know that was happening.
Yeah, really, really weird. It's so funny. And then there's this one's really odd. The United States Incorporated, that during the Civil War, there was some Emergency Powers Act thing that the Congress passed, and it created a United States Incorporated, so that part of the government functions as a corporation, as its own organization and business, and because of that, they don't have to follow the Constitution. So there's this sub-government within America that's just referred to as the United States, and that is a corporation that has lawyers and this and that. It's very there's a lot of it's just very it's corporate. It's it runs like a business, and they use it to sidestep the Constitution because they have their own Constitution, which is their business guidelines, and people believe this.
Weird.
Which is kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was odd. I've never heard of this.
We just thinking weird things about the government. to
Yeah,
like
it's
make
true.
sense of our lives.
You're like, so the government does something you don't like. Well, it's
Well, it's
obviously because they're
because.
incorporated. And then there's Paul is Dead. Do you know that
Oh, I
Paul
read about
McCartney?
that.
I love it. 1966, he died in a car crash. R.I.P. to Paul McCartney, and they hired a double, and they if you play the songs backwards, it says Paul is Dead. Even like some of their album covers, like I think it was Yellow Submarine, kind of looks like the flowers are like a funeral or something like that. And then like when the funeral, like them walking across Abbey Road, I think it's what it's called, or on the Abbey Road cover, it's like the one guy's in white, which is supposed to be like the pastor, or the minister officiating it. The one guy's in black, that he's like the mourner. Paul isn't wearing shoes because he's already dead, and you don't need shoes in heaven. And and then I forgot the other one. He was in boots or something or jeans because he's a gravedigger, and that's like the hidden message.
What?
But you know what's weird? If you look up, like they look at his earlobes, his chin, his like different like features on his
Yeah.
face. It does
looks
look that he
different.
probably just had like he probably had maybe like reconstructive surgery after his accident, or maybe he just had plastic surgery. And because I mean, if you look at like Mark Hamill from
Right.
Star
That's
Wars,
what I was thinking.
which I wonder if there's any theories about that. I bet you there are,
I'm down.
because like yeah, because he just looks so different, but because he was in a car accident,
Right.
and they had to reconstruct his face. And I always wondered that as a kid. I'm like, why does he
What would
look
we
so
look like
different?
if we had like a reconstructed face? That would be so bizarre.
Find an app.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Paul has been dead, and I watched this video, and the person was saying, okay, so Paul McCartney only lived for 24 years, and so for the last 50 years, this other Paul has been pretending to be Paul McCartney. So doesn't that make him more Paul McCartney than the original Paul McCartney? And I was like, whoa, that's weird.
Wow, that's deep.
All right, yeah, and then I have two more, and that is that you know this. Well, I think a lot of people know this. That Jesus married Mary Magdalene.
Okay.
Right. I mean, they made a movie about it, Last Temptation of Christ. All this stuff. It's this big theory. They think he was married and to her and
Right.
all this weird stuff. But then it goes further, and they think that they had kids, and then the kids moved to France. Okay.
Okay.
And they became and I'm going to butcher this, so sorry to all the people in France. The Merovingians. I don't know, this big. So it was this big family that they were kings, and they ruled for like a really long time in France. And they think that like it was they started off as Jesus's bloodline, and then we know someone that thinks that bloodline is like still intact, and that there is I think a woman or maybe a boy or something that is like the only living relative that is being protected. And this person claimed to be in the organization that protects the bloodline of Christ. If they ever need this person, they will call on this person to go protect the bloodline of Christ. Isn't that weird? Like, yes. Yeah, we have. Yeah, I'll explain later.
We know someone? Okay, tell me afterwards.
Yeah, and then, of course,
We
Old
can't disclose
Faithful,
their
as I
name,
like to
they'll be
call
in
this
danger.
theory, is that Michelle Obama's a man. Yep, it's just so funny. Like,
Oh gosh, I thought you'd slip that
yeah,
in there
because
somewhere.
they make the claim that she's a
Old
man,
Faithful.
and that that like the way she dresses is opposite of the way real women dress, because she's trying to hide the fact that she's a man, and there's just literally like there's like Photoshop pictures, and they were like, and once he gets out of office, it's all gonna come out. It's Michael Obama. It's not Michelle. And then of course, it's not true. But there are some hilarious videos on YouTube, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie. For a little while, I low-key believed it. Because it's just so crazy. It's just so.
You did believe that.
But those
You
are the
wanted to
conspiracy
so bad.
theories that these are the
It
ones
is
that,
crazy.
that are near and dear to our hearts.
I love that.
Oh, there was one when you were talking about
That's right.
like
They're
the Hitler
special.
ones. There's
They had a
this like
special little
theory
place here.
that the royal family,
the
first of all,
peel.
is evil. that they killed Princess Diana, all that stuff, and that they actually were like, yeah. Honestly, I don't think they're. I think they're a little sketchy. I think they are.
I kind of believe
and
that.
yeah, and they definitely had their hand in quite a few things, but that they also were behind the Nazis.
A little
That
sketch.
they were pulling the strings. I yeah.
I bet
Yeah,
they're pulling some
but
strings.
there
I don't
are
know if they
there
pulled
was
those
somebody in the royal
strings,
family
but
that actually would go, and before he like really, I forgot who he was, but he really liked Hitler, and it's like well documented. This is before World War II broke out, and he would like constantly go and like visit Hitler because he just like loved him. Yeah, so that's like a big thing where it came from. But obviously, yeah, and then obviously that stuff
wow.
kind of fizzled out, once the war started, I
This I
guess.
did
But
not know. They're fun. They're fun to talk about. It's just kind of like it's great to like get behind an idea and like try to figure out
yeah,
if it's real or if it's fake. Do you believe it? Don't you believe it? And that's what's great about
yeah,
it.
yep. So, well, Peter, thank you so much for coming on and
It's
talking
been a
about
pleasure.
the truth.
Absolutely.
So, all right, we will see you next week on the Weekly Peel.
Adios.